Today we're doing Module 4 Exponents and Exponential Function N.RN.2 Level 1 Reteach. Simplify each expressions. So when I see a negative, I'm just going to, first of all, if I see it on the outside, I'm just going to multiply. And when I know that I have two negatives, it becomes a positive. So it's going to be x to the 10th power. This one I'm going to distribute again. So I'm going to get x to the 8th, y to the 4th. The next one, I notice that I have negative exponents. I dislike negative exponents. I like negative whole numbers, but not negative exponents. So on the top, I'm going to leave it as 7p q to the 3rd, and on the bottom, p to the 5th, r to the 2nd. Taking a look at the next one, what I usually do is I take those whole numbers, I pull them out as negative 3 times 6. I add my exponents, and don't forget Mr. Wonderful. So I have a to the 3rd, 1 plus 4 is b to the 5th, and c. And then I just multiply and I get negative 18, a to the 3rd, b to the 5th, c. Taking a look at the next one. Again, I pull out my whole numbers. So I have a negative 2 times negative 4 times negative 3. And then I add my exponents. Don't forget Mr. Wonderful. So a would be 2 plus 1 is 3. 1 plus 1 plus 1 would be for c, and b would be b to the 3rd, c to the 3rd. And we usually like them in alphabetical order, so you should be putting them in alphabetical order. I multiply the three numbers. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. A to the 3rd, b to the 3rd, c to the 3rd. With fractions, we just don't do anything different. We just still distribute. I also notice that I can cancel out the 5, so I get x 1/3. Again, I'm going to take those whole numbers, I'm going to pull them out in the front, and I'm going to have to remember there's a 1 there. I have to get a common denominator. My common denominator would be 7. So I'm going to have an x, and I'm going to have to multiply the top and the bottom by 7. So I really would have 35 over 7 plus 5 over 7. That's going to get me 10. And then I'm going to have x 40 over 7. Taking a look at this one. Again, I'm going to be distributing. Remember, this is really 5 over 1. I can cross this out. So that's going to make it m to the 4th times m to the negative 6. Add those exponents. I'm going to get m to the negative 2nd. I dislike negative exponents, so it's going to have to be underneath 1. So it's going to be 1 m to the 2nd. Taking a look at the next one, I'm going to need to take this whole thing and move it and put it right under a 1. And then I'm also going to need to distribute. Remember, when you move it to the bottom, it becomes a positive. So it's really going to be 10 to the positive 5, x to the positive 30. Then I need to simplify this, and I know it's going to be a 1 with 5 zeros. And then I'm going to have x to the 30th. It's all going to be underneath. This one, I'm going to need to subtract 5 over 4, and then I'm going to get a 4, and then I'm going to get b negative 4 over 4, which really is b to the negative 1. Dislike negative exponents, so it's 4b on the bottom. This one, I do not like negative exponents. That means I need to flip. So that means the 4n to the 5th goes on the top, 3b to the 5th goes on the top, and this becomes a positive. Then I'm going to need to distribute that 2 across. So I technically have 4 to the 2nd, n to the 10th, 3 to the 2nd, b to the 10th. Then I just have to simplify the exponents. That would be 16, n to the 10th. 3 times 3 is 9, b to the 10th, and I am done. Taking a look at the next one, again, I need to distribute. So I'm going to get y to the 10th, z to the negative 15th, and y to the 6th. I need to add my exponents. And so I'm going to have y to the 16th, z to the negative 15th. Dislike negative exponents. So I'm going to have to bring that to the bottom. And this would be my final answer. Taking a look at the next page. Again, I'm going to need to distribute. So I'm going to have c to the negative 12, c to the negative 6, d to the third, d to the fifth. I need to add my exponents, so I'm going to have c to the negative 18th, d to the 8th. Dislike negative exponents, so I'm going to leave the d to the 8th on the top and c to the 18th on the bottom. This one, I notice that they're both bases of 3, so I'm just going to look to see which one is smaller, 2 or 5. Well, obviously the 2 is smaller, so I'm going to come right here and I'm going to write 3 to the third power. Then I look at the m's and I see which one is smaller. The 5 is definitely smaller, so I'm going to subtract and I'm going to have m to the second. Then I see that the negative 5 is super small, so 2 negatives make a positive, so I'm going to have t to the 11th. The only thing is I need to simplify that exponent with the the number. So it's 3 to the third power, which is 3 times 3 times 3, or 27, m to the second power. Taking a look at this, I have a 0 on the outside. That means I can just slash it all down and I get a 1. Then again over here, I need to distribute my exponent. So then I'm going to get 3 to the second, k to the 6th, j to the 10th, 2 to the third, k to the 10th, and j to the 15th. Well, I know these 3 to the second is a 9, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. I'm going to add my exponents, so I'm going to have, and then I'm going to put the j first because we have to do it in alphabetical order, so it's going to be j to the 25th, and then k to the 21st, and 9 times 8 is 17, 2, j 25, k to the 21st. Taking a look at the next one, aha, another one with a negative exponent. So that means I need to flip. So that means the first thing I'm going to do is flip it. And I'm going to change this to a positive. Then I like to reduce if I can. So when I reduce, I notice that the 2 can go down here. And then I'm going to have a 1, 2, m to the second to the 4th. Then I'm going to distribute that across. 1 to anything is always just 1 to whatever power is just 1. And technically this would be 2 to the 4th, m to the 8th. Again, I need to simplify 2 to the 4th. That's 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, or 16 m to the 8th. Taking a look at this one, I'm just going to reduce. So I have a 3 on the top. I look to see which one is smaller, and I'm going to have x to the 5th over 1, or I'm just going to have 3x to the 5th. This one, again, I'm going to reduce those whole numbers. So the 2 goes into 8 4 times. Then I notice that the 4 is smaller, so I'm going to bring it down. 2 negatives make a positive, so that's going to be x to the, x to the third, because you're just going to subtract. Let me just make sure. Yeah. So it's x minus 4 is x to the third, and then 2 negatives make a positive, and I'm going to have y to the 7th, all under 1. Taking a look at the last couple, I'm going to put this here. I know I always have a line, so I'm just going to take the p to the third since that's the first one in the alphabet. I dislike the negative, so I'm going to bring that to the top. And then I'm going to subtract, which is 2 over 1, which is technically 4 over 2. 5 minus 4 is x to 1/2 over 1. So I would just write it like this. Taking a look at this one, I'm going to need to distribute this all the way across. So it's going to be 2 to the third, x to the 9th, y to the 6th, 3 to the third, x to the third, y to the third. Now, 2 to the third is 8. 3 to the third is 27. I'm going to subtract 3 because that's smaller. I'm going to get x to the 6th. I'm going to subtract 3 again, and I'm going to get y to the third. And that would be my final answer. And finally, I'm going to distribute. And I'm going to get 2 to the second, c to the second, d to the 8th, c to the 5th, d to the 5th. Then I know 2 to the second is 4. 2 plus 5 is 7 in D. 8 plus 5 is 13. Thanks for listening and have a fantastic day. Bye.